Hello everyone. Happy feast day of Saint Pope Pius X. Saint Pope Pius X. He's the one that gave all of us a chance to receive Holy Communion, First Holy Communion, when we were our children, around the age of 7. I'll tell you about some of the children here that were so blessed at the very beginning with this gift of the Saint Pope Pius XII was given to the church to let the little children come to Jesus when they are young, around 7 years old. I was one of the beneficiaries, and I'm sure all of you who are Catholic also have this debt of gratitude to Saint Pope Pius X. When I was younger and I served at the altar, we had benediction at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The benediction to our Blessed Mother, novena to our Blessed Mother that was ongoing. But before Saint Pope Pius X was canonized, our pastor, Monsignor Richard Schumacher, during that novena on Sunday evening, would pray have a prayer for the canonization of Pope Saint Pius X, Pope, and he had a great devotion to him. And I remember serving in the middle of all the incense smoke rising in adoration to Jesus, the Blessed Sacrament. He had a little statue about 3 feet tall of a chapel-sized statue of then Blessed Pius X, and he would pray for the canonization. And all us kids at the altar and out in the back, out in the nave, out with the people in the pews, knew that this Pope was the one that gave us early First Communion. We could receive him around 7 years old, and not wait until, as the custom was before he decreed this, was when we were teenagers, our pre-teens, our middle school, even older than that, to receive communion. I have a few things to show you before I get into the celebration even more deeply. Here's a little girl we got in our Saints cabinet. I rescued it from the thrift store. A little First Communicant. She has her little book. We have First Communion kits that has a little prayer book, their first prayer book, and a rosary, a scapular. Oh, I pray that all the First Communicants will be enrolled in the brown scapular, like we were as we prepared to receive our First Communion. The sisters and the pastor would enroll us in the brown scapular, and we made a little tiny act of consecration to the Blessed Mother, and said she would keep us from sin, keep us prepared to receive Jesus with pure hearts at our First Communion. Here's a little boy, and this is a little German boy in the traditional sailor suit, the little epaulet there in the back, the flap, and his rosary dangling from his hand. I don't know if you can see all that. Oh boy, you can. But anyway, he's got a rosary from his hand here. Okay, right there. And then he has a candle with a ribbon dangling down, a candle. He's making his First Communion. We renew our baptismal promises. That's probably what he's doing there. This is a Hummel. It was inspired by the paintings of Sister Maria Innocencia Hummel. This is a Hummel given to me by my deceased brother Joseph and my deceased and his wife, deceased Charlotte Rallihan. Is the first sibling that went to the Lord. He and Charlotte both died of cancer, different kinds of cancer. May they rest in peace. And I have this not only as a sign of First Communion and a precious Hummel, but also to remember them, Joe and Charlotte Rallihan, my brother and sister-in-law, who died of cancer. And here's a gift, or a keepsake box. A keepsake box. On the back it has for the name and date of the First Communicant for a boy, and the boy's kneeling down with his new First Communion prayer book, and beside him are the Eucharist, the host, the white host. Can you see it? There's contrast here somewhere. Anyway, the host over the chalice of precious blood, and there the grapes, another symbol of the Eucharist, and shafts, sheaves of you can see the brown parts. Your boys can't get much the brown part there of the sheaves of wheat. Oh, so I just want to share these things. That there's so many things that when First Communion comes around, and people, grandparents and mothers, dads look for special things to remember their First Communion. And how I remember mine. I had all of these things, the First Communion kit and everything, with my first rosary and my first little prayer book and my scapular, and though that I don't know where they're at now, but anyway, that's a long time ago. I'm 72 right now, and all my sisters did too, and they were dressed up like this little first communicant girl here, and we remember. I remember going through the house after when we came home from church, and already the dining room table was covered with a special tablecloth. I knew it was something very special, and the special silverware and dishes. It was very special, and Mom was in doing the breakfast, and I went through the house and out the back door, real quiet. Everybody wondered what's wrong with me, because I tend to be not so quiet and a big clown. And I went out the door, and I went down to the swings. We have 2 swings. Dad made them for the kids. It became the neighborhood playground in our backyard. Big swings, nice swings. And I sat in one of the swings, and I didn't swing. I just sat in the swing. And Dad and Mom wondered what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with myself either. This was not characteristic of me. Anyway, being loud and boisterous all the time. Anyway, I sat there and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. It was really quiet. The neighborhood was quiet. It was Sunday morning. The traffic down on Indiana, there wasn't much at all. No cars. Just quiet and sitting on the swing. And Dad came out real quiet, real gently, and he sat on the other swing. And we just sat in silence. In silence. Oh, Peanut wants to get up. This is Peanut. He wants to get up. I hope he doesn't want to go out now. Hi, Peanut. Say hello to everybody, Peanut. Hello, everybody. Give him a wave. Goodbye, everybody. I got to go somewhere. Okay. If you got to go out, you tell me. Okay. God bless you, Peanut. Okay, you tell me. He's going in my bedroom. Okay, he's all right. No? Well, we'll see. Anyway, so the silence, finally Dad broke the silence and says, Jim, now you've got to be a really good boy because you received Jesus in Holy Communion. And I didn't say a word. I just looked at him and just nodded like that. I couldn't explain that experience, but I was so touched by my dad's gentleness, my dad respecting my quiet and silence, and my what's wrong with me. You know, he did it. He was so tender and so gentle with me, and I just feel that Jesus was taking over my life. I really do think that there was many graces. I couldn't name them. I couldn't even express them in my First Communion, which I am so grateful to Saint Pius X. I would have to wait till I was 12 or 13 or 14 before, but Saint Pius X let me experience that First Communion, and when I was real young, and because of that, there were many children saints or saintly children. Here's this about this book is Saintly Children by Father Winfried Herbst, a Society of the Holy Savior. He wrote down stories of the little children who made their First Communion early and became very saintly. I want to just read you a few excerpts about one of them, Anna de Guigne, or Anna of Guigne, in France. And she was a little girl. She was 6 years old, and the bishop and and the pastor didn't know what to do. 6 years old, she should be older. How could she know about First Communion? And they gave her a little examination, and she just knew all about First Communion, and she passed it to the amazement of everyone. But the thing is this: after she made her First Communion, she became just so enthralled with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, Jesus in the Sacred Host. One time she was hardly 6 years old when one evening before the feast of Corpus Christi, the body of Christ, she watched a sister as she decorated the altar, and she said to her, went up to her, "Please, sister, I would be glad if I could make up a bouquet for our dear Lord. May I help?" And the sister smilingly gave permission, and she very carefully arranged the flowers, a beautiful bouquet, and brought it to sister with the words, "But sister, you'll place it very near to Jesus, won't you?" When the sister said she would, Anna was satisfied. So she had a very concrete, very a love, a warm love for Jesus in the Most Blessed Sacrament. One time she was talking to her mom, and her mom said, "Well, what do you talk to Jesus about?" And she says, "I tell him that I love him. Then I speak with him about you and about my brother and sisters, that they may remain good. I talk very much with him about sinners." Then blushingly she added, "And then I tell him that I would very much like to see him." Well, the mother, that meant that she would die to see Jesus. That's what her mother thought. And I guess she understood that. Then she assured her mother, but she said, "Do you not think of the pain," the mother, "of the pain it would cause me if you would go away in order to see little Jesus?" "Oh yes, Mama, I think of it, and would like to spare you every sorrow. But Papa is already in heaven, and you are going to get there too, and also my brother and sisters." Another time she said, "When I am perfectly recollected, little Jesus speaks to me." "Well, what does he say?" The mother asked. "That he loves me very much. Oh, how happy I am when Jesus tells me that he loves me very much, even more than I love him." Then it goes on how helpful she is around the house with her mother, and then when she was still very small and very little, she got a sickness that something with to do, I think it's tuberculosis, but it doesn't say exactly, with to do with her lungs, and here's how her last moments, and I just want to share this and end with this. One morning the doctor noticed that a painful weakness of her respiratory muscles had set in. The poor child struggled for air like one who is choking. Now and then she sighed, oh my, I am passing away, I am at the end." Then she whispered softly, "My Jesus, I have enough." The doctor pronounced her condition hopeless. And then then when she was at the point of dying, and everyone knew she was dying, the priest went over to her and whispered to her to open her eyes to give a last look at her mother. When she was on the point of closing her eyes forever, someone said to her, that was the priest, "Dear child, look at your mama once more." Anna gathered together her remaining strength, opened her eyelids already, heavy with death, and cast a glance full of tenderness upon her mother. That was her last glance. It's so beautiful, so touching. When Jesus takes over our lives, he makes us makes us love, makes us transformed into himself, to love, to be completely in love with him, and because of him, to love others with like little Anne de Guigne, Anna of Guigne did with her mom. Her last thing was to give her that loving and tender glance, and she died. Oh, I'm so happy to be with you, so happy to share these stories of First Communion, of early First Communion. God bless you now. Let us renew our faith because of St. Pius X in Jesus and the Blessed Sacrament. Let us prepare our First Communions and give ourselves each time as of ourselves, body and blood, soul and humanity, as Jesus gives himself totally and completely in communion, his body and blood, soul and divinity to us, in love, to be one with Jesus, now and forever. God bless you.